Midnight looms before us, and the shadows begin to lengthen. I, Professor Bruno Lampini, have entrusted one man to exhibit these shadows. The mad master of the macabre, your host and my protege, Professor Anton Griffin. Join him now as he parts the curtains and invites brave souls into Professor Griffin's Midnight Shadow Show.
Ladies and gentlemen, take your seats. The show is about to begin. Now, here he is, the Midnight Master of Horror, Professor Anton Griffin.
Thank you, Usher, and welcome one and all back to the Midnight Shadow Show. You have purchased your tickets and entered the curtain, so you must be very brave indeed. Tonight, night creatures, we are presenting a very special Halloween show. We receive trailers constantly from my boss, Professor Bruno Lampini, and tonight we are going to show you those trailers. Horrors and terrors, coming attractions perhaps that you will see right here on the Midnight Shadow Show, all to get you into the Halloween spirit, so to speak. So prepare yourselves. We are going to see a cavalcade of horror, an avalanche of grisly terror, right here tonight. Dim the lights, light that jack-o'-lantern, and let's begin our Trailer-Rama.
Trailer-Rama? Is that what you're calling this?
Yes, what would you have me call it?
The Dan Show.
You are hopelessly insane.
Yes, this is my most charming trait.
Night creature's my assistant, Dan.
Don't forget Arnold!
Yes, of course, Arnold. How could I forget Arnold?
The smell alone should have cued you off.
Right, night creatures, let's get into it. We're going to start watching a collection of classic
and not so classic
horror movie trailers. All here tonight. We've got living mummies, we've got giant lizards, from Universal to Hammer, all presented right here for your entertainment.
That's right. I took a sneak look at some of these trailers, Mr. Professor, and what a stellar lineup. You've got Boris Karloff, Lon Chaney, Bela Lugosi.
That's right. You'll see Vincent Price and Basil Rathbone.
Oh my goodness.
And Peter Cushing.
And Peter Cushing.
And a very young Jack Nicholson.
What? Where's Christopher Lee? You've got to have a Christopher Lee trailer in here somewhere.
Night creatures, in case some of you don't know, our own Usher here has sort of a thing for Christopher Lee.
Yeah, she's a deranged stalker.
Shut up, Daniels. He's my soulmate, my psychic lover. He gives me reason to live.
That's very nice, Usher, but he is not in tonight's show.
Too bad, so sad. Nolly for you.
I cannot believe this. You're having Jack Nicholson over Christopher Lee? This is very wrong.
Yes, well, let's get into it, night creatures, by watching a 1963 quickie with a young Jack Nicholson and Boris Karloff, directed by our old friend Roger Corman, called The Terror.
Yes, and if you look real closely, you'll see the Mrs. Jack Nicholson in there.
That's
what
right,
was her name?
Sandra Knight. Sandra Knight, the
Knight.
first Jack Nicholson, Mrs. Jack Nicholson.
That's
right.
That's good. No, Mr. Professor.
Yes.
Are you really not going to have any Christopher Lee trailers, Kurt?
The Professor giveth, and the Professor taketh away. Enjoy!
Come in. I surprised her in her room. She was not alone. With my own hands, I killed her.
Starring Boris Karloff.
Take this gun. Escort this gentleman from the castle. If he resists, kill him.
The Terror. His evil mystic powers go beyond man's wildest imaginings. The Terror. Empowered to avenge, to reward, to transform.
I do love you.
Is she a blood and flesh beauty a man can enjoy?
I am possessed of the dead.
Or is she a gossamer myth, created by a madman's distorted desires?
Take your life as you took mine, and bring us together forever.
Join Boris Karloff, the Frankenstein monster of all horror motion pictures, in his most blood-chilling screen experience.
He's the only major horror star still alive. You saw him in Lord of the Rings.
Actually, I did not see him in Return of the King.
That's because Peter Jackson cut all his scenes out, and if I ever find that little troll, I'm just gonna...
Thank you very much. Welcome back, Night Creatures. Next up, scientific experiments with a disembodied head in one of the greatest B-movie titles in history, The Brain That Wouldn't Die.
You've lost the urge to experiment.
Oh, every time you touch me, I go out of my mind. Let me die. Let me die.
Her brain kept alive by experimental science, by a man whose abnormal passions inspired him to try the impossible.
I brought her back. She'll live and I'll get her another body.
Yes, and what of her soul? How can you make of her an experiment of horror? His mad ambitions and desires threaten every woman possessing an attractive body. Girls whose measurements make them beauty contest participants. Professional figure models such as this. All are prey to his distorted desires.
What's locked behind that door?
Horror. No normal mind can imagine. Something even more terrible than you.
Horror has its ultimate, and I'm that.
Behind that door is the sum total of Dr. Corden's mistakes.
He intends to kill somebody. To rob them of their body. We've got to stop him.
Wow, that was really weird and unsavory. I wonder if anyone really could have feelings for a severed head. Oh, well, we're just pals, my friend. And now, ladies, gentlemen, and night creatures out there in TV land, we're going to have a trailer from a 1959 drive-in classics directed by Gordon McClendon called The Giant Gila Monster, starring the giant Gila monster is played by a Mexican beaded lizard. That's kind of weird, isn't it? It was played by a Mexican beaded lizard, but it's supposed to be a Gila monster, so I guess they had to call it the giant Gila monster because the giant Mexican beaded lizard wouldn't really play in Peoria. Well, anyway, night creatures, let's let the terror begin!
This engine's still warm.
Say, did you see the skid marks out here? They go at a direct right angle to the direction of travel.
No digs in the macadam either. Somebody was hurt. There's blood all over this thing.
What is this black menace that kills everything it sees and hears? No human mind could imagine the enormous destructive power of this maddened, killing thing.
If you're young people in love, look out. If you're driving a lonely road, you're as good as dead.
There's been a lot of livestock missing lately. That doesn't make headlines, but now it's people.
Never in the history of the United States, a monster of such size and power and horrifying hatred of man.
Night creatures, down on your knees and worship at the altar of the most beautiful nocturnal creature ever to grace the earth, Barbara Steele. This British-born beauty started her horror career in Black Sunday and achieved horror superstardom. She did many films in Italy, including The Horrible Dr. Hitchcock and The Ghost, and she even traveled here to the United States and did films with Vincent Price like Pit and the Pendulum. With Barbara Steele, ladies and gentlemen, you're about to see her in 3 classic shockers. So prepare yourselves, worship at the altar, join me. Oh, I could look at her all day long.
Hey!
But
that is not fair. You get all drooly about Barbara Steele, and I can't have my Christopher Lee fix.
Here it is, Night Creatures. Barbara Steele in action. And Barbara, if you're watching, call me.
I'll stay with you with my body and my senses until someone comes and destroys my heart.
Barbara Steele, in an original and passionate interpretation of the double role of Muriel and Jenny. One woman with 2 faces, or 2 women with the same face, but profoundly different. A fearful doubt, a sinister enigma, which becomes an obsessive nightmare. Victim of the sorcery of a merciless and diabolical sadist.
About last night. It wasn't just an hallucination. It was something unreal, mysterious. And when I was in bed, I knew I was with you when I heard the heartbeat.
A film that will take your breath away, that will hold you spellbound.
Terror creatures from the grave.
Avenge me! I've summoned you! Avenge me!
Go back to the dead!
In a dreadful night of reckoning, the forces of darkness strike with blood-freezing horror.
You're here.
A nightmare of diabolical happenings, conceived in a murder-haunted house of blood by the maniac called Geronimus, a dead man with the monstrous power to return from his grave.
I tell you, it was my father. I saw him.
What are you saying? Can't you see the boat is empty?
Look! Look! There's water dripping from the oars.
A bone-chilling shocker, inspired by Edgar Allan Poe.
No!
Terror Creatures from the Grave, starring Barbara Steele.
The year was 1938, Night Creatures, and horror history was about to be made. In 1931, Universal Studios released Dracula and Frankenstein, and they enjoyed a great success with them until horror fell out of vogue in the late 30s.
That's right. Hollywood back then was more interested in making mysteries, thrillers, comedies, and musicals than out-and-out horror movies.
Until a very enterprising young theater manager in New York City booked the following double bill to bolster his sales, and it packed the place.
There were lines around the corner.
Yeah, and across the country, other theater owners noticed and followed suit.
That's right, and Universal Studios took notice of this great double bill, and they kicked off the second great Universal monster cycle in 1939 with Son of Frankenstein, and it's all thanks to these two films that played as a double bill back in 1938. Here they are once again, Night Creatures, the dark twins of the Via Diodati, the monster and the vampire, Dracula and Frankenstein.
I am Dracula. A moment ago, I stumbled upon a most amazing phenomenon. Something so incredible, I mistrust my own judgment. Look.
Dracula. The very mention of the name brings to mind things so evil, so fantastic, so degrading. You wonder if it isn't all a dream, a nightmare.
Rats. Rats. Thousands. Millions of them.
But no, this is no dream. This is Dracula, the original terrifying story of a maniac and a man who lived after death, lived on human blood, took the form of a vampire bat, and lured innocent girls to a fate truly worse than death.
Dracula? Oh, what's he done to you, dearie? Tell me.
He came to me. He opened the thing in his arm, and he made me drink.
When this dead hand moves, the monster created by a man they called mad is turned loose to strike terror into the hearts of men. To shock women into uncontrolled hysteria.
Elizabeth!
To prey upon the innocence of children. This is the story you've heard about, talked about. The spine-tingling, blood-chilling story that stuns your emotions. Frankenstein.
Don't touch that!
In 1958, Hammer Studios remade Dracula into Horror of Dracula, starring Sir Peter Cushing as Van Helsing and Christopher Lee as Dracula. Now here it is, Horror of Dracula! Horror of Dracula!
There are no Christopher Lee trailers tonight!
That is not fair!
Greetings, Night Creatures! When you think of horror, what do you think of?
Fangoria!
When you want the latest news in the genre of horror entertainment, where do you go?
Fangoria!
Well, prepare yourselves, night creatures, because soon, very soon, Fangoria will be coming into your homes with Fangoria TV!
Holy splunge! You mean the people that are responsible for the #1 horror magazine in the nation are going to be in charge of a cable channel?
With original horror programming and the best of horror films, old and new?
For more information, check out www.fangoriatv.com!
Does this mean we'll be getting raises?
Cheers!
No, and maybe. But night creatures, you keep watching because the best is yet to come.
Late one night when the moon was tall, the midnight monsters had a ball. At the county morgue till the break of day, you could hear those monsters say, hey goo, you're cool, you're cool. At the midnight monsters hop. The mummy was up from the band, on the yakety sax, the invisible man. A zombie on the voodoo drum, and the guitar man was a real weird one. They scowl, and they howl, at the midnight monsters hop. Dracula was standing at the bar, sipping blood from an old jar. The werewolf was acting the clown, gnawing on a leg of Sam. Tastes good, but it should. At the midnight monsters hop. A gruesome, twosome, and fond embrace, a slipping and sliding all over the place. It was Vampira and Frankenstein. Man, those cats was having a time. Hooey, spooky, at the midnight monsters hop.
And regardless of what you think of these films, they will certainly stick with you.
Yeah, like a prison rape scene in Oz.
Just before the break of day, the monsters all are on their way. Back to the coffin in the old graveyard. The headless horseman was a-riding hard. They're gone, come down, at the midnight monsters hop. They're gone, come down, at the midnight monsters hop. At the midnight monsters hop. At the midnight
On strike? Boy, she's got it bad.
Yes, I didn't know how to tell that we simply did not get any Christopher Lee trailers from Professor Lampini.
And so you covered up for your own error by pretending it was an executive decision? Boss, you gotta grow a spine.
Oh, shut up. Look, we have to do something. We have to find a Christopher Lee trailer before Usher does something rash.
I'll third to the film vault below.
Yes, do that. In the meantime, let's enjoy this film with Boris Karloff and Bela Lugosi called The Invisible Ray. Boris Karloff plays a scientist named Janos Rook, who discovers a radium X-ray that gives him amazing powers to kill with a touch. And Bela Lugosi is in the film as a good guy.
This is the nebula in Andromeda. A ray from this nebula will be caught here and electrically transferred to the projector in my laboratory.
From Andromeda?
750,000 light years distant. I leave my secret with you. It is all there. More power than man has ever possessed. Power to heal, power to destroy. You're poisoned. Poisoned? And everyone I touch is poisoned. They die.
If your men fail to capture him at the gate, then at midnight we bolt all doors and darken the entire house. His face and hands will appear like phosphorus.
And if he touches anyone?
They die.